organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV,
we'll tell you the latest developments in the efforts to build a passenger train between Chicago and Iowa City.
Plus, CY1 paleontologist is receiving national attention for his recent crocodile discovery.
And in sports, Awards Week continues as we name our Male Athlete of the Year.
That's all coming your way next.
Daily Iowan TV starts right now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for tuning into your Tuesday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Lauren Moss.
And I'm Jake Abrams. It was a busy day for Iowa lawmakers as legislators in Des Moines worked to finalize the state budget. Several pieces of legislation made their way to Governor Terry Branstad's desk today following approval by the House and Senate. Among them were an agricultural and natural resources bill totaling just over $80 million. According to the Associated Press, the Senate also passed a justice system bill that calls for roughly $523 million in spending. Legislators also passed an education reform bill, which has been one of the Governor Branstad's chief initiatives. With fewer than 10 pieces of legislation still under consideration, legislators were optimistic that they could finally adjourn this year's session on Tuesday night.
And after months of deliberations, petitions, and plans, a proposed passenger train from Iowa City to Chicago is still far from becoming a reality. Daily Iowan TV's Tasha Wood takes a look at what progress has been made so far and which stops this train still needs to make before it reaches its final destination.
A vast majority of University of Iowa students called Chicago and the surrounding area home. However, getting there can sometimes be a challenge.
For many college students here at the University of Iowa, a train would be the fastest and easiest way to get home.
For students who don't own cars, this fast and inexpensive form of transportation meant to take passengers from Iowa City to Chicago has made some progress in the past couple of years, but is currently at a standstill. And this is frustrating to many Iowa City students who find the buses and cars inconvenient.
A train would be easy because it's just, it's simple, it's one way.
And with expensive gas prices, students are eager to save some cash.
With rising gas costs, it's kind of difficult.
This passenger line would go from Chicago to Omaha, stopping in Iowa City along the way. However, now the Department of Transportation is conducting a survey to decide whether there would be enough riders, evaluate potential route alternatives, and analyze environmental impacts. In fact, legislators are counting on this Chicago to Omaha survey to decide whether or not to develop this new passenger train through the Midwest. And if you're looking to participate in this survey or learn more about the new train route, check out this website, iowadot.gov/Chicago to Omaha.
So as of now, the possibility of having a train go from Iowa City to Chicago is still up in the air. This is Tasha Woods reporting from Daily Iowan TV.
Officials say the study will play a major role in the DOT's final decision on whether or not the passenger train will ever be built at all.
And the trial started today for an Iowa City woman accused of failing in her duties as a mandatory reporter of sexual abuse. Prosecutors say Susan Friedman Murda failed to report an alleged sexual abuse incident involving a 3-year-old child while she was head of the Broadway Neighborhood Center's Head Start program. On Tuesday, jurors were selected and the alleged victim's mother was called to give her testimony. The trial will continue tomorrow and the judge expects to have the trial wrapped up by Thursday.
A new education campaign will target synthetic drug use in Iowa. State officials announced the Speak Out Against Synthetic Drugs campaign on Monday, a program they say will help educate teenagers and their parents on the dangers of drugs. Synthetic drugs mimic the effects of substances like cocaine and marijuana and have become increasingly popular over the past years. Although state law does ban some forms of the drugs, new brands continue to pop up and avoid these restrictions.
And although UI paleontologist Christopher Brochu might look like just another professor on campus, well, he's also the man known for identifying the world's largest species of crocodile ever recorded. Daily Iowan TV's Nick Rector has the story on Brochu's discovery, millions of years in the making.
Growing up, UI geoscience professor and paleontologist Christopher Brochu was the type of kid who you'd see wandering around the neighborhood collecting snakes, frogs, and toads in a plastic bucket.
And my friends and I would always go around the neighborhood lifting rocks or logs to catch mostly toads. But we would also find the occasional garter snake, which was always very exciting.
He always knew he'd work with reptiles, but I'll bet he never thought he'd be the guy to discover the world's biggest known crocodile species. And it was a little bit of a shock to him. While looking at a crocodile skull fossil in the National Museum of Kenya, Brochu discovered that many experts had falsely identified this species of crocodile.
I came there fully expecting it to be another really big dwarf crocodile relative. And it's not. It was actually crocodilus. And that was a bit of a surprise.
And as you can see from the fossil, this was no small croc. Crocodilus dorbjonarsoni could grow larger than 27 feet long. It lived 2 to 4 million years ago in Kenya, and compared to the Nile crocodile of Egypt, the second biggest recorded crocodile, you can see it was much bigger. All grown up now, Brochu is still playing with reptiles. Only these days, they're much bigger. Nick Rector, Daily Iowan TV.
Still to come on Daily Iowan TV, we'll tell you how a controversy half a world away is affecting UI students.
And in sports, we take a look at the Hawkeye track team and break down its chances of repeating last year's victory at the Big Ten Championships this upcoming weekend.
That's coming up in just a bit, but now it's time to check in with Daily Iowan TV's Tasha Woods for your local weather forecast. Tasha?
Thanks, guys. Temperatures are going to stay warm and sunny throughout the next week, but first let's take a look at tomorrow's forecast. It's going to start out a little cloudy with a high of 53. Later into the afternoon, things will start to clear up with a high of 64, and into the evening, clear skies with 55 degrees. For your 6-day forecast, you'll see temperatures in the upper 60s and lower 70s throughout the week. Skies will be sunny nearly every day. So, guys, even though it's finals week, the sun will continue to shine. That's your check of the weather. Back to you at the desk.
All right, thanks, Tasha. A fire destroyed part of an Iowa City apartment building Monday night, leaving 2 people homeless. Officials said the fire started around 8:40 Monday night at 1001 Oak Street on the southwest side of town. When firefighters arrived, they discovered the second-story apartment completely engulfed in flames, but were able to control the blaze in about 12 minutes. Officials say 2 people were displaced, but no injuries were reported.
While it may be finals week on campus, tests and papers are not the only things on the mind of some students, and Daily Iowan TV's Josh Bolander tells us why a controversy halfway around the world is causing some students additional stress during this finals week.
It's finals week here at the University of Iowa, which of course in turn means a few things. Nervous students are cramming into the library in hopes of making that final grade. Coffee lines are getting longer, and the UI campus is buzzing with only a few tests in the way of a long-awaited summer for most students. However, amidst the hustle and bustle of the university this last week, many are unaware and have not read up on an international issue that has direct ties to a number of University of Iowa students. This year's incoming class of 4,565 students made it the largest in school history, with hundreds of Asian Americans and Chinese international students adding to the total. From those figures, you can see why the recent escape from house arrest and subsequent flight to an American embassy of a Chinese blind activist is not just being heard, it's being followed.
About a website in China, in Hong Kong, I read it regularly, so I kind of follow, just what's going on over there.
After discussing the issue with a number of Chinese students today, it is clear that finals is not the only thing on every student's mind, giving the rest of those getting around on the UI campus something to think about. Josh Bolander, Daily Iowan TV.
U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton says that the situation has yet to be completely resolved.
And now Daily Iowan TV's Nick Robertson is here for your look at Hawkeye Sports.
As award week continues here on Daily Iowan TV, it's time now to announce our selection for Male Athlete of the Year. And while there were many deserving Hawkeyes this year, one candidate stood out above the rest. Marvin McNutt had one of the greatest seasons in Iowa football history. The wide receiver from St. Louis, Missouri became the focal point of the Hawkeye offense during his senior season and finished his career as one of the best ever to wear the black and gold. McNutt set Iowa single-season records for reception yards and touchdowns on his way to being named Big Ten Wide Receiver of the Year. Opposing defenses lightly had nightmares of number 7 after he routinely torched secondaries, racking up big numbers. 8 times this season, McNutt had 100-yard receiving games, including 5 in a row at one point. He also had 4 multi-touchdown games. His best performance of the year came against Indiana, where he set career highs of 184 yards and 3 touchdowns. Beyond the impressive numbers, McNutt also made Kennick roar with spectacular one-handed grabs and brilliant breakaway scores. He leaves the school ranking first all-time in receiving yards and touchdown receptions, and is second in catches. McNutt will now head to the NFL after being selected by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 6th round of the draft, just over a week ago. Congratulations to Marvin McNutt, and be sure to check out tomorrow's Daily Iowan for more on his amazing year. And tune into Daily Iowan TV tomorrow night when we announce our Female Athlete of the Year. And continuing on, junior wrestler Matt McDonough and redshirt freshman Bobby Telford were named to the 2012 Division I All-Academic Team today. The 2 Hawkeye wrestlers joined 87 other top athletes, including 5 NCAA champions, 3 runner-ups, and 23 All-Americans. McDonough and Telford joined 16 other Hawkeyes in the program's history to receive this honor. Hawkeye Athletics set a school record this year with 12 athletes named to all academic teams. And despite the school year coming to an end this week, the Iowa track and field team still has big competitions coming up in their schedule. The outdoor Big Ten championships quickly followed by the NCAAs. The track and field team has had a solid year coming off its Big Ten outdoor title last spring. 3 standouts this year have been senior captain Eric Sawinski, senior Jeffrey Herron, and senior captain Troy Doris, who are all ranked in the top 5 in the NCAA. The men's team as a whole is currently ranked 21st nationally, but the men have a lot to live up to going into this Big Ten's championship, where they all will be defending their title. From those 3 seniors, it will be their last chance to compete in the Big Ten meet.
It's probably going to be out of Nebraska, Indiana, and Minnesota, I think. I mean, I haven't really done all the point spreads now, but Indiana, they wanted indoors, and Minnesota took second here last year outdoors, so it's going to be close.
The Big Ten Championship will be held in Madison, Wisconsin this weekend, so definitely still a lot of good Hawkeye sports to look forward this year. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Nick. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek into Wednesday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Read about the UI's Safe Ride program as it finally goes into effect after months of planning.
Plus, read the Daily Iowan's monthly Q&A session with UI President Sally Mason.
Well, that's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV.
Be sure to check us out at the same time tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.